Oh, you're doing a hearing right now?
It's testimony. Okay. I'll go quiet. Love you, Charlie. Aww. Love you, Joey. Love you.
As chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I call this committee to order. The purpose on why we are here is that the Attorney General Kenneth Allen has volunteered to submit evidence and also to testify about many topics, including the Supreme Court possibly violating the Constitution and rulings that they have, cases that they have ruled over, and wrongdoings committed by the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, Benjamin Bryant. I will explain the rules of this testimony hearing. The witness will have 10 minutes for their opening and closing statements. Each member of the committee will have 5 minutes to ask questions, starting with the least senior member of the committee. There should be unlimited rounds of questioning until members of the committee have no more questions they want to ask the witness. Members outside of the committee that want to participate may do so with the permission of the chair via PMs, and after the members of the committees are done with their round of questioning. Any member or senator outside of this committee who break any of those rules will be served muted for the rest of the hearing or until the chairman lifts the punishment. I will now, Kenneth, you will now do the oath. Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. With that being said, you have 10 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senators, for allowing me to speak and have a testimony. I want to appreciate the time and effort that you have gathered and put together to have this testimony be heard on a public forum. Now, everyone here knows me, and every senator here knows that I have served as Attorney General under 3 presidents. I have served and probably am the longest serving Attorney General and cabinet official. To this day, time and time again, we have a member known as Benjamin Bryant, whom has violated the Democracy Act on several counts, has ruled unconstitutionally by disregarding the Equal Rights Amendment, and has also failed to comply with a lawfully issued subpoena issued by the United States Department of Justice. And we will begin with that shortly. Well, we also have evidence providing that the accounts, specifically Title 5 and 6 of Mr. Bryant's action of violating the Democracy Act and the Constitution itself, should question members of Congress whether we condone the illegality of his actions. Now, we all have a history together fighting for criminal justice reform and pro-democracy legislation. Mr. Bryant had a history under his administration when he was president, history of corruption, corrupting the Department of Justice and corrupting the United States Supreme Court, having courts ruling on specific cases to score legal victories, which was discovered by investigations. Him corrupting, ordering members of Congress to destroy the Democracy Act, the beacon right now that is forcefully applying to him for his actions, shall mount the merits of investigation onto him, which the Department of Justice has been pursuing. It brings to the question whether how far we can continue to tolerate corruption, judicial misconduct, And it brings to the question, why are we here today? Members of Congress, especially in this Senate Judiciary Committee, I come here to this chamber, to your chamber, before you, to discuss that democracy at this very moment is not prevailing as we've all championed it to be. Whether it be that the Democracy Act is under attack, the Equal Rights Amendment is being disregarded, or the subpoena is not being complied. But most of all, the Constitution itself is being violated. Violated to a point where we haven't seen when the court is making rulings without even actually applying the Equal Rights Amendment. That ensures that every American, regardless of who you are, where you come from, or the color of your skin, your sex, whether you are gay or straight, they are dismissing you. And according to the Department of Justice, our career officials, we've received reports where the justice himself was being involved in the political climate, telling Republican members to take the opportunity, submit cases to the court to overturn specific cases he wants to see overturned. Today, we issued a subpoena against Justice Bryant regarding to what we believe is having inappropriate conversations with the then Speaker Tom Bush. We believe that not only the connections or the relationship they have as a friend can be implicating the effect or the outcome of Supreme Court cases, but we should heavily reconsider our positions. Right now, the Supreme Court is being used as a pawn for conservative, far-right conservative values and dismissing the Constitution. And I'm here to testify on the Department of Justice behalf and on behalf of the American people that what Mr. Benjamin Bryant is doing results onto a count of felony charges, obstruction of justice, and the traditional mindset from our founding fathers going against your country, your constitution, and your people results as treason. But in a legality standpoint, treason in the Constitution is defined very narrowly. But to my fellow colleagues here, we have work to do regarding about our judicial system. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the remainder of my time.
Attorney General yields his time. With that being said, because of Senator Myers' ability to not speak, she doesn't have the ability whatsoever to speak. She is advised that if she does have any questions to the witness, the Attorney General, to please send them to me, and I will ask them on your behalf. Now, with the next less senior member of the committee being Senator Henderson. Senator Henderson, you have 5 minutes to ask your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General Allen, it's good to be with you. Good to have you here. I want you to first just broadly discuss the scope of the Justice Department's investigation into an associate justice.
Thank you for that, Senator. The investigation was first launched on a multiple accusations reports of allegations brought forth, compiled. When I mean reports, I mean compiled complaints and reviews by the Department of Justice regarding about the conduct of Mr. Bryant. The scope of the investigation was one regarding about his conduct as an admin, regarding about where was his position when 3 people were being harassed while he condoned the action of his friend when he called people, especially Black African Americans, the N word, where he condoned his friend to say transphobic slurs, when he condoned the actions and the background, the narrative of an angry person. That was one of the top reasons. The second one was regarding about him practicing judicial misconduct, whether it was to use his office to obtain special treatments for friends, whether he was probably having improper discussions with parties or counsels for one side of the case, whether he was treating litigants or attorneys in a furious or ferocious, hostile manner, and more specifically, violating his judicial requirements to remain as an independent. The scope of this was to ensure that ethics standards were met, judicial requirements were met, and ensuring that impartiality specifically was being followed.
Okay. Um, so I'm curious, Attorney General Allen, are there any other members of the Supreme Court currently being investigated?
By the Department of Justice, there isn't any other member, but the reports we do have are solely based on the actions of the Honorable Benjamin Bryant.
So, with that said, you're not investigating any former members of the Supreme Court either, as well, right?
That is correct, madam.
Okay, so now I want to get into, I know you can't disclose specific complaints, but I want to talk about these complaints and reports in a broad aspect.
Mhm.
Out of all the complaints that you got, can you honestly tell the members of the committee and the American people that Justice Bryant is unfit to serve an associate justice because he's used his power as an associate justice for political gain, or that he's completely violated the oath that he took as an associate justice?
Thank you for that. In the legal perspective, especially under the department I've served and the oath I've taken, we believe that Justice Bryant has violated his oath of office, dismissing the Constitution himself, disregarding the Democracy Act, the bill he signed, dismissing the subpoena we'd issued for him to comply with, and he dismissed everything, using the fact that he was an admin. I would assume he thought that he would be exonerated for such of any crime or such
You're
of.
saying, so, Mr. Chair, can you update me on how much time I have left? Okay. So you're saying that Associate Justice Bryant used his power as an admin, or would you say that Justice Bryant used his power as an admin while participating in discussions pertaining to the court, which may have overstepped his boundaries?
Your time is up, but I will allow the Attorney General to answer that question.
Thank you. I believe that he knowingly knows the position he holds would have a prejudicial effect on the court's business. Whether he states that it was just for the position he just holds as a justice, but I believe, and the Department of Justice and other White House officials believes, that he is using the office and the administrative role as a game to have prejudicial effects on cases when it comes to a case such as Roe v. Wade, which we've received a complaint that he said on a Voice General chat call publicly that he was urging Republican colleagues to file lawsuits to overturn such case. With that, I yield.
All right. I will ask my questions now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the beginning with 3 simple questions. If I have any more questions, I'll ask you, and then I'll get to questions pertaining about the present day. Mr. Attorney General, do you believe that you and Justice Bryant are quote-unquote enemies towards each other?
Thank you for that question. As many of you know, Ben and I used to be friends. We had a friendship for over 3 years. As many of you all know, we come from MEC. We used to be very, very close. Now, the day he told me to overthrow one of my friends who disagreed with him politically, he told me to overthrow the incumbent president right now, Harry Bennett, as president pro tempore of the Senate, and I refused. What I did was I told Harry what Ben was up to, that he wanted me to overthrow him, and I told him that I will not do that. That's not allowed. That is not okay. And to this day, he does not forgive me or see me as a friend because I did the right thing. And to that extent, whether he likes to call me a snake or call you guys puppets or such, at the end of the day, we all know that we did the right thing. And the right thing was to put a stop to a corrupt act of overthrowing government officials based off political agendas. So I don't see him as an enemy or enemy of the people. We do have disagreements, but in this place, he has violated an account where we have never seen a government official, with the exception of the then Vice President Jacob Ainsley, who was charged with abuse of power and corruption.
Now, this question is from Senator Sophia Myers. In a statement, Justice Ben Bryant referred to this investigation against him as quote-unquote illegal. Could you explain to the best of your ability why you believe he thinks this is an illegal investigation?
Well, thank you for that, Senator. I don't know why he thinks this was illegal or why he thinks an investigation by the Department of Justice is illegal. As I recall, Congress authorized the Department of Justice and specifically the Attorney General to have powers regarding investigating, rooting out corruption, and doing our job to advise the president as on legal matters, run the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and operate the federal prison system. The Attorney General is empowered to issue subpoenas at his or her discretion. I am authorized to issue arrest warrants. I'm authorized to issue things pertaining to investigation that we need to know. And for him to think it's illegal or such, it's quite odd to hear that from a justice who likes to claim that he knows more about law than I do. So if the Department of Justice can't do an investigation because it's quote unquote illegal, then that destroys the purpose of my job, the purpose of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, destroys the purpose of other government intelligence agencies, destroys the purpose of having justice, destroys the purpose of when his quote unquote former attorney general launched an investigation onto me and other government officials. So it breaks the purpose. I believe that it's illegal because the investigation is to him, it's focused on him.
All right, my time is up. I'll give 5 minutes back to Senator Henderson.
Well, Pee-wee, we do stand. Okay, hold on. Okay, what was I? Okay, so now that we understand the scope of this investigation, I want to get into the ethical compass of this investigation and of the Justice Department. So earlier you made it clear, that the Bryant Justice Department was corrupt.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but an emergency just happened outside, and I will need you to chair this testimony hearing until I come back. Thank you.
Where was I? You made it clear that the Bryant Justice Department was corrupt and used as a political tool. So how can you assure the American people and the members of this committee this isn't your version of politicizing the Justice Department?
Thank you for that question. So, as I stated in my opening statement, as the Attorney General for the United States, in my history in Congress, I have fought for more criminal justice reform than probably any other political official here. I have fought for, with my good friend, the Vice President. We have fought, specifically me as a sole Democrat, or then Democrat, senator from Michigan in the Senate, for what is known as the largest anti-corruption bill in DES history, which we got it passed. I'm surprised, but we got it passed. We passed criminal justice reform such as the Floyd Taylor Act. And myself, I'm holding myself to a higher standard when I signed a memo for the Department of Justice raising the ethical standard for the Attorney General, which is myself. I don't politicize my office for gains that I see fit for myself or go after critics just because they're a critic of me or they criticize my work. I have fought to defend the justice system since day one. I have been working with Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike to pass comprehensive reforms that impact our everyday criminal justice system, improving it better. I have issued memos and directives ensuring that ethical standards for everyone, and including members within the White House, are being followed, ensuring that we follow a tight rope when it comes to ensuring that the trust of the American people is not abused. I don't have an agenda to fulfill, an agenda to seek or proclaim. I'm doing what my office requires me to do.
Right, so thank you. I don't want to cut you off, but we are limited on time. So I just want to ask a simple yes or no question. Has Justice Bryant reached out to you personally about this investigation?
We've talked, yes. We've talked, yes.
Not in your capacity as Attorney General, but in your capacity as a former friend.
Former friend, no.
Has Mr. Bryant tried to use his power as an associate justice to influence you or the standing investigation in any way, shape, or form?
Let me give me 1 second. If I could say briefly, he tried to use the court to, in a way that we've taken it as an intimidation to dismiss the subpoena.
Okay, so I'll take that as a I want to talk. I know my time's up. Mr. Terry, you back? So that is no. Senator Myers, do you have any questions? Yeah, so I'll keep going. Um, Attorney General Allen, and I want to turn to the Democracy Act. Um, would you say, in your professional legal opinion and your capacity as a former friend of Justice Bryant, that the reason he instructed his former Vice President Jacob Ainsley to instruct Republican members of Congress to vote against the Democracy Act was because of the provisions in it, such as justice having to change their political affiliation from whatever party to an independent and removing their name and support from all political organizations and boards and other entities.
That wouldn't be the reason. The reason why he wanted this specific legislation to be shot down was because it targeted him in a way of rooting out corruption. What we've discovered. It also reformed the Official Secrets Act, which the Department of Justice has made it clear that it was the most corrupt legislation ever passed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second. Lord Jesus. Okay. Mr. Attorney General, can you tell us, earlier you said that an argument between you and Justice Bryant regarding the fact that Justice Bryant wanted then PPT of the Senate, Harry Bennett, now president, to quote unquote, I believe he said to kick him out of the position or to do something to damage his reputation or to kick him out of the Senate. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Is that the first time that you two got into an argument or scuffle in DES?
It was specifically, for clarity, to overthrow him. And yes, that was where we first bumped heads, where he wanted me to do something I thought was wrong.
And can you confirm or deny that you requested to testify because of DOJ findings and not because you have or had grudges between Justice Bryant?
I can assure you that I'm here based off findings and facts and not on grudges and personal opinions.
All right. And you said earlier that the Department of Justice is investigating Justice Bryant only, not Justice Brett Cawthorn, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. If you may, and I will stop the clock until it is 9:05 p.m. If you can go over any evidence of the Supreme Court violating the Constitution or Justice Bryant on ruling any case.
Of course. Many of you may or may not know, in DES on March 7th, myself, Williams, Underwood, Richards, Fitzpatrick, and Cunningham has introduced the following measures, which was known as the Equal Rights Amendment, which will be enshrined within the Constitution, becoming the 31st Amendment. The amendment states as follows. Amendment 31.1. No person of any sex, religion, sexual orientation, age, national origin, gender, color, identification, background, and of such be treated differently by law and judicial enforcement. Amendment 31.2. No law within the states nor the United States shall abridge into the privacy of choice and freedom to any American, regardless of sex, religion, color, sexual orientation, age, national origin, gender, identification, background, and of such. And finally, Amendment 31.3. all Americans are entitled to be treated equally and fairly under the law, and under no exceptions shall any government in the United States abridge and private personal matters and decisions of anyone, regardless of sex, religion, color, sexual orientation, age, national origin, gender identification, background, and of such. And from what we've discovered, and according to our findings, we do believe, in fact, that the Supreme Court violated this amendment, this specific amendment. And I'll tell you why. There was a challenge made or brought forward by the Bush and Associates, which filed an injunction or a petition to the Supreme Court to challenge Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade has allowed women the choice to get the choice in their own personal matters to have access to get an abortion. The Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade. But this amendment was implemented 2 months before this case has even been brought up. Not only has a woman's right to have access to abortion because it's her personal, private matter, they violated this common sense equal rights amendment, which abridges and interferes in someone's personal matter. It prohibits us from that. And another thing is, currently, a petition May 4th by the Bush and Associates want to overturn Obergefell v. Hodges, which was the landmark case that gave LGBTQ Americans access to get married under our state courthouses. And that, we believed, was going to be another case that was going to be overturned. Previously, before Roe v. Wade was overturned, the Supreme Court ruled, when the Constitution specifically stated that we cannot adopt a national religion, they went on to basically now allowing states to teach Christianity. And how would you think a Muslim kid will feel that he, despite his religion, he now has to study and learn and practice Christianity in school? These are two unconstitutional rulings that they have committed. Obergefell v. Hodges is about to be overturned, and we quickly submitted a response. But according to the Department of Justice, the amendment they have specifically violated and the clauses of not adopting a national religion were violated.
I'll ask one more question, and I'll give 5 minutes to Senator Henderson. Before this hearing began, you announced that you visited the Supreme Court to talk to Justice Brett Cawthorn. Can you tell us exactly what was said in the conversation between you and Justice Cawthorn?
Of course. So during my visit, or the conversation I had with the justice, it was a moment that only lasted 12 minutes where I told him what was going on. I also made my case to the United States Supreme Court because a justice submitted an injunction extending time of my subpoena for 2 hours. I made my case where the justice wastefully used his time in a call, bickering back and forth with me, with an administrator, and with others for about 10 to 15 minutes. He then on, which we do have evidence to prove, he then on and went active when he left for over 40 minutes when he was sitting in a call with me and others, complaining he didn't have enough time to send the required documents that we've subpoenaed. But yet, he was on a mobile cell phone, which, again, we do have evidence to provide, for about 40 minutes, failed to even use that time wisely to hand the required documents requested by the Department of Justice to our investigation. I've informed the justice about this. I've informed him of the evidence we have. I've made my case directly to him. And that was all that was said.
Okay. Senator Henderson, you have 5 minutes.
Mr. Chair, before my time begins, we talked earlier about me having a few questions that were not necessarily completely on topic with the intention of this hearing. I was wondering if I could move through those questions now. I have no more questions regarding.
Yes, you may.
Turning around, I want to start with the basics. The Constitution. The Constitution says, quote, the right of citizens of the United States. I don't have the words in front of me. I have like my questions. I'm pretty sure I know my Constitution. So if I'm wrong, it's my ass. The Constitution says, quote, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied nor abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Is that correct, Mr. Allen?
That is correct.
And I don't mean to seem condescending here, but would you agree that people in prisons are still citizens of the United States?
That is correct.
So in your legal opinion, is it unconstitutional to deny those who are currently incarcerated the right to vote?
That is correct.
So I just want to point out, we passed the not the Democracy Act. We passed the American Democracy Preservation Act, which gives the Attorney General power to deny states the ability to purge voter rolls. Voter roll purging is it's a tool given to states that has a racist and discriminatory past. This law, President or Senator Underwood signed when he was president, allows all people of the age of 18 to vote. Attorney General Allen, I also want to ask you, would you say that it's unconstitutional? Would you say that the Constitution is forever set in stone, or that there can always be amendments added to the Constitution, or current amendments can be changed?
I believe that the Constitution doesn't always have to be set in stone. We can always change it to upkeep with the society that we think is normal for us to sustain, to have a sustainable government and institution.
Right. So would you agree that it is important for us to change the way people vote in this country, and more specifically, change the age at which people are eligible to vote in order to sustain the society? And my proposal is to change it to age 16. And the reason why, majority of activists, Parkland, Florida, from Boulder, Colorado, from Virginia Tech, in New York City, and Orlando, Florida, were people under the age of 18 who were advocating for Compton's gun legislation but could not vote. So would you agree that it is mandatory that we change the age at which people are eligible to vote in order to keep a sustainable society?
To that extent, yes. There is no such thing that makes it unconstitutional. Um, that states that if you are under, because the government can amend the Constitution time and time and time and time again, it's rather right as of now, you cannot vote under the age of 18. But if an amendment were to pass to lower it to 16, that would be the new normal. And it would be acceptable to society when the government exactly accepts the amendment as the new normal for the Constitution. And if it were to be adopted, anyone 16 years of age and older would have guaranteed the right to vote. And I believe to upkeep with society, and as you said, Senator, many of our activists are very young at the age 16 and 17 but can't have the right to vote. We do believe that we could look into that possibly.
Mr. Chair, how much time do I have left? Always 20 seconds. Could you just briefly explain, why it's important to include more people in our society, in our elections rather, and why it's of legal importance that the Constitution be changed at times to sustain a healthy society?
Your time has expired, but I'll let the Attorney General answer the question.
Thank you for that, Mr. Senator, and for giving me time, Mr. Chairman. So it is important that we always try to ensure that our Constitution is well sustained for us in modern society. Right now, we are following a Constitution that was drafted in 1776. That right now, the language or the context that we have, specifically if we point out the Second Amendment, that amendment was drafted where Americans had muskets and bow and arrows, or where they actually physically had to reload the gun that takes about 10 to 15 seconds. And if you didn't know, it will take you a minute or so. Right now, we have the capacity to change one clip or magazine that has 100 bullets within 1 second. Right now, the capacity that we have, high power militarized weapons on public streets for sale, which is why we advocated for universal background checks. We advocated to ensure that the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigations continues our work to ensure that criminals, convicted felons, or people with mental disabilities and young folks don't get their hands on guns. We ensured that it raised the age from 18 to 21 to purchase all and any guns. But it's important that we have a society that is sustainable, that understands the consequences and reality that we all face. But it's also important to be inclusive, to build and expand our diverse groups of voter age. And lowering it to 16 would not be unconstitutional. If adopted, it would be enforced as any other law and amendment, but it would be inclusive and expand the voice of the American people to have a say in all and any elections, whether it be local, state, or national.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney General, with the investigation that the Department of Justice has launched on Justice Bryant, can you say that there is enough evidence for the House of Representatives to impeach Justice Bryant from the Supreme Court and for the United States Senate to convict him and remove him?
I believe there is sufficient allegations, sufficient testimonies, and yes, even evidence that will grounds for his removal, the unfitness to serve or to continue serving as Associate Justice. And as many of you all know, Ben Bryant has been suspended as an admin for his abuse of power. That should tell you something. If you got suspended as an admin for abuse of power, that should be a level concerning on why are we still having a justice who got suspended for abuse of power being investigated by the Senate Judiciary Committee, being investigated by the mods, being investigated by the Department of Justice. Why is he still sitting there? That's a question that we all have to ask ourselves. He is facing 3 investigations all at once, and he is still sitting on the benches. He has more investigation records than any other member in DES history. Let's repeat that again. Benjamin Bryant has more investigation records than any other political or judicial individual in DES history. I believe that is self-explanatory.
Okay, do you believe, with that being said, do you believe that Justice Bryant should be impeached and removed from office?
In a legal standpoint, yes, he should.
All right. Do you believe that Justice Cawthorn should be impeached or removed from office?
I believe we should review the actions since the justice, in fact, did vote with Justice Bryant with unanimously adopting rulings that were unconstitutional, and it needs to be reviewed.
Do you find the Supreme Court's opinion on the case entitled Underwood v. Johan to be an unconstitutional or illegal opinion based on the fact that the Chief Justice resigned one day before the document for the opinion was created?
Yes.
Can you tell the audience and members of the committee why?
Why? Because, one, the Chief Justice vote, whether he agreed or disagreed with the case, should have been counted. He was present when the case was first brought up, and for the court to announce that they unanimously agreed the day after of his resignation was not necessarily okay. And the fact is that, as I stated earlier, the Supreme Court knowingly, since they like to consider themselves as strict constitutionalists, they've knowingly, supposed to know that the Constitution specifically states that we as in the government or governments, cannot adopt a national religion. And what the court did in that case, that unconstitutional opinion, was in fact that they have ruled in favor of the petitioner, which now legalized and adopted the sense of Christianity in our public schools. And I've said to the public, now how are you going to tell that to a Muslim kid who has been practicing his religion for about 15, 16, 17 years, that now he has to be forced to learn Christianity, learn about the creation, learn about the lessons, the teachings? Or the Buddhist kid, or the atheist girl. It's unconstitutional and it's wrong.
Do you believe that the Supreme Court's ruling on the case titled Underwood v. Johan and future cases that will be ruled without a Chief Justice present is unethical? Or if you say yes, do you see that as illegal and or unconstitutional?
In a legal perspective, I believe that if there were a sense of a vacancy for the Chief Justice, the court itself would still be able to operate. Again, there could be a vacancy in any seat. The court would still be able to operate. But within these 2 or 3 cases that are about to occur, they have ruled unconstitutionally, and it needs to be reviewed. And consequences will pay for those who undermine our very own Constitution that sets our foundation to having a more perfect union, to see it all be destroyed by a court that simply does not know how to manage itself.
And just for the record, you do believe with 100% certainty that the Department of Justice have enough evidence, testimony, materials, and etc., the list goes on, that Justice Bryant committed a federal crime, which was breaking the Democracy Act, and that he has committed judicial misconduct?
Yes, we are certain.
Do you believe that any other past or present member of the Supreme Court has broke any laws or has committed judicial misconduct?
Not that I know of, no.
Is or has Justice Bryant been the only Supreme Court justice, past or present, that the Department of Justice has investigated over a period of the time that you have been the acting Attorney General?
That is correct.
Has there been any complaints or any testimonies conducted by members of the community regarding other members in the Supreme Court, past or present, besides Justice Benjamin Bryant?
There has been members where we did investigate, which we can name one of them, Joey King. We could, which is the only one I could only recall at the moment. But it was not just him. It was anyone who we thought that undermined democracy itself, undermined their oath of office. We went and we sought for an answer.
And just for clarification, those other individuals, they were not in the Supreme Court, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Has Justice Bryant, in the past month and a half, has he ever contacted you and threatened you in any way pertaining to the Department of Justice investigation towards him?
In any way, shape, or form, not threatened, but have a hostile manner with me. Hostile in a way of being too personal, too very much approaching in a sense where, again, this is where admin power comes in, which I simply did not care. but directly in any way, shape, or form threaten me. This is a conflicting issue. I could say that the subpoena event, the fact that he told me he was going to take it to the court should have been something that intimidated me in a way. That's the way I've taken it. I don't know the way that he tried to lay it out for me, but it was a way to say that he was going to take it to the courts to settle it there, which I was perfectly okay with that.
Okay, and just for clarification, the Democracy Act was passed by both chambers of Congress and signed by the President of the United States, correct?
That is correct.
So it is law.
That is correct.
And the Department of Justice is certain that the Associate Justice Benjamin Bryant broke the Democracy Act.
That is correct.
And any federal judge who breaks the Democracy Act automatically committed a federal crime, correct, of breaking that bill?
That is correct.
So you are saying that Justice Bryant has committed a federal crime?
That is correct.
All right. Now, can you please explain to me, since I'm the only member of this committee that is here, but we will ignore that. Can you explain to me your opinion on those that have called you childish because of the fact that many see the quote-unquote feud that you and Justice Bryant have to be personal? What are your opinions to the views of those in the public who feel that way?
For those who feel that way, I could just simply tell them and direct them to the past events of Bryant's first administration, his first term as president. He did everything he could to destroy the Democracy Act. He did everything he could to gather his caucus and kill the bill. He did everything he could to try to find the minor things within the bill to kill it. But democracy still prevailed. Bryant's, the thing is, it's crazy how I still remember this from the back of my pawn. He instructed me to do something that I consider unethical, an act of overthrowing a government official, a U.S. government official, not just any official, a U.S. government official who's in a presidential line of succession to be overthrown. I find that
from a
legal standpoint, a corruption.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I forgot to ask you this question. When he came to you in attempts to get your support to overthrow PPT Bennett, at the time, was he President of the United States?
Yes.
So, are you saying that when he was President of the United States, that he came to you, a then senator, to overthrow the PPT?
Yes.
Define overthrow for me in the sense of that situation.
Overthrow as he wants to install myself or someone else as President pro tempore, but the reason why it got there was because they had a political disagreement.
So you're saying because of that political disagreement that he went out of his way to contact you to vote against the nomination of Harry Bennett as PPT, correct?
Well, he was already PPT. He wanted me to do a PPT election and gather caucuses to overthrow him and install either me or someone else as PPT.
So he wanted you to do a redo election.
Yes.
Do you consider that abuse of power?
and corrupt, yes.
So you are saying before the Senate Judiciary Committee that you strongly believe that then President Bryant, now Justice Bryant, abused his powers as President of the United States and he was being corrupt.
Yes.
Now, as we know, the mob team, from an inside source, from someone inside the mob team, has said that Justice Bryant has been fired from the mob team. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I was aware of that.
Okay. And you have said earlier in your testimony that you have received reports, the Department of Justice have received reports that Justice Bryant abused his mob powers, not while being the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, correct?
By reports, I mean when I joined
By like
when I
complaints,
joined-
not complaints towards not only you, but like complaints in general to like the general public in this community.
to generalize it, complaints where I see in the comments or whether I joined a chat, like on call, and they tell me like, hey, this is what's going on. Yes, I'd received a few of voice complaints regarding about the justice. I've explained or my concerns to the admin, which is why we're currently here right now. According to my interpretation, yes. He was misusing his office to gather Republicans to submit petitions to the court to have things their way. According to my interpretation and a report that I've received during voice, that's what I've gotten, and that's what we're at with that as well.
And do you consider that in any sense, way, shape, or form to be an abuse of power as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court?
Yes. Misusing your office for political gain of such? Yes.
Justice Bryant, excuse me. Justice Bryant, in the time that he was an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, when you first announced that the Department of Justice was going to look into reports, general complaints, and et cetera, of Justice Bryant being, I don't want to use the word corrupt, but using his office in the wrong way and committing judicial misconduct, do you have, at this current moment, and I know I asked this question earlier, but I just want clarification so I can ask my next question, evidence to support it?
Evidence, physical, text evidence, no, but testimony, yes.
Under oath, correct?
Testimony, yes, under oath.
And will you be willing to submit those testimonies, if you have them on the record, whether it be a recording or a text document, to this committee by the time of, let's say, tomorrow afternoon, by 4 o'clock?
For recorded, we don't have recorded testimonies. We don't have documented. But if you do wish, or the committee wish to have a list of a few names, that's what we can provide for you. In case you want to extend this a bit further to get clarity on a sense of a small area or a larger, broader area.
Yes, if you may, give us a list of names that have testified um, against Justice Bryant, again by tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be amazing. And I have another question. So with you coming up here and testifying and saying with all of the material that you have against Justice Bryant, that not only did he abuse his power as President of the United States, he abused his power as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, he committed judicial misconduct, and that he committed a federal crime by breaking the Democracy Act. Can you say that with full clarity that the material that you have regarding if it's any evidence or testimony, like you said, you had the testimony or the list of people that testified, that it is 100% true, that it is valid, and that it is correct to the best of your knowledge? Oh, see.
Oh my god, I was speaking while on mute. I'm sorry. According towards my interpretation and the things the way are, according towards the discussions I had with people who came to me expressing concerns and the Justice Bryant's actions being displayed on a public forum, yes, we are 100% confident.
If I may, the evidence that you provided to me, I may share with the public to ask you my next question is correct.
Yes, you can share that.
With the evidence that you submitted, it is a message, I believe, is it in a group chat or?
They at the time, a few Republicans made a separate GOP server out of Discord, which then was discovered by admins that cannot be allowed. But this was in a different server where all the Republicans were in there, and as you see from that message, the Vice President is telling people there to nay the Democracy Act, and it was an order from the President. And the President at the time was Benjamin Bryant.
So, yeah, I can see the former vice president that was impeached, Jacob Ansley. He's saying, quote, listen. Followed by that is former Representative Robert Abdullah saying, oh my God, I'm assuming that has nothing to do with Jacob calling that group of people inside that server to order. And then he goes on to say by the former vice president, quote unquote, all of you better nay the Democracy Act. And he later says after that, this is an order from POTUS. Are you 100% sure that the former vice president actually did send that message into that server, because it actually was a direct order from then President Bryant?
Yes, you can even ask Abdullah, Nixon, and other Republicans at the time. That's an actual message that came from POTUS telling them, instructing them to nay the Democracy Act. That's an actual screenshot of the Vice President stating that the POTUS instructed House and Republicans to kill the bill.
I'm still in the chat, by the way. So I can literally screen record right now and show you.
Wait, who said that?
Wait, what?
Wait, who said that?
I said, I'm still in the chat, so I can still screen record and show you.
The chat of the server?
No, the chat that message was sent to.
Oh, if you can, please screen record it and send it to me.
Okay.
Either you can do it right now or after the hearing.
Oh, dear. No. I meant like showing you publicly to the committee. I can literally find it right now.
Yeah, I will allow that. And while you pull that up, I'll ask one question to the Attorney General. And you got that screenshot. Did you get it by yourself, because you were inside that server, or did you get it from another source?
I got it from another source.
Can you name who that source is?
At the meantime,
If you can't name
for the protection of the
You can name the
individual.
person. You can name the person.
Okay. So the source that I've received that screenshot from is actually the vice president himself.
And if you
Vice
look at my screen
President
right
Charlie
now,
Williams,
I can
correct?
show you right now.
And it was Charlie Williams, the current vice president, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now let me look at
Okay,
what's presented
as you
here.
can see,
Okay,
nothing was done. Okay, nothing was done. If we scroll up, I believe I passed it already. Wait, no. Scrolling. As you can see here, the then Vice President Jacob Ainsley clearly says, wait, hold up, give me. Okay, here. Listen, says the then Vice President. All of you better nay the Democracy Act. Quote, that is an order from POTUS. Right here. Switch your votes.
switch your
It's
vote.
the Republican box.
He altered. Wait, stop right there. Go up. Stop. Okay. Adula said, Kenneth told me you altered. What is altered? Made alt accounts. Do you know who he's talking about? When he said that, who made the
At the
alt
time,
account?
he was referring to Sophia. No, not Sophia. Sophia Bennett, I believe.
Sophia Bennett, and
Well, I don't think at the time that information was public, but I don't think they knew at the time which alts exactly. Now they know, but at the time, yeah, they did not know who they were, but they knew that. But from the information that's provided to them by the Attorney General, they know that all accounts were made.
wait, pause it right there so I can see.
And of course, you can see the former vice president said, quote, myself, the speaker, and POTUS expect a nay on this legislation.
So he's saying him, the former president Jacob Ainsley, speaker,
Vice President. Became president.
Former speaker Tom Bush, and former president Benjamin Bryan. Mr. Attorney General, do you consider that abuse of power on all of their offices that they were currently in during that time?
I'm sorry?
Do you consider that when the former vice president said, myself, the speaker, and POTUS expect everyone to vote nay on that, do you consider that to be abuse of power on all three of their offices respectfully?
From the looks of it, they did try to influence the positions they hold to frighten members to
I also use them.
vote a specific way.
Can I bring this quote up to Jacob Say's quote, and then pings Robert Abdullah, representative at that time, saying, question, if you are the majority whip, don't you think you should whip votes towards the opinion of leadership? And former Speaker Tom Bush directs that same question to myself when I was a representative and a Republican at that time.
Okay, if
you can scroll a bit further down
to your job.
If you could scroll a bit further down, that's where you see that right there, that the people there were going to launch an investigation onto me.
And I don't have a screenshot, but I can.
Okay. What I
You
need
can
you
tell
to
how
do,
these people were
for-
to go to take him down.
Mr. Vice President, if you can go to the participants of the chat. If you
Well, people left now.
people left. Okay. Okay, if to the best of your recollection, can you tell me the exact people or persons that were in that that group chat?
Yes. Former President Benjamin Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
former Speaker Tom Bush,
Mm-hmm.
former Vice President Jacob Ainsley,
Mm-hmm.
former Representative Robert Abdullah,
Mm-hmm.
Representative Jacob Johan,
Mm-hmm.
Representative John Richards, former Representative Evan Hunt, and I believe that's it. That were active during this time.
So, I'm gonna get that correct. Benjamin Bryant, Robert Abdullah, Jacob Johan, Edwin House, I believe you said.
Him too.
Evan Hunt and Richards, John Richards, former Representative John Richards.
Yes.
Did I miss anyone?
No.
Okay. So
Actually, we can see that Harper was also in here, but he left. He wasn't really involved in during that moment.
If you may, can you demonstrate for us any comments that the president himself was involved in? Any comments that he issued?
In the whole chat or just pertaining to that section?
Probably within the chat itself.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to ask you just a simple question.
Okay. We can see here. Let me find it.
And while you find that, just say yes or no. I'm just going to ask you.
So here they're talking about.
Oh, sorry, I've been speaking on mute. I was saying, Mr. Vice President, that I was going to ask you a couple questions. And basically all you have to do is say yes or no. I'm going to bring up some names, and you basically say yes or no on whether or not these individuals were involved in that direct conversation. So Benjamin Bryant.
Yes.
Jacob Ainsley.
Yes.
Tom Bush.
Yes.
Robert Abdullah.
Yes.
Jacob Johan.
Yes.
Edwin House.
No.
John Richards.
No.
Evan Hunt.
No.
Rachel Harper.
No.
Did I miss anyone that you named?
No.
Okay. And if you could screenshot bits of that conversation and their conversation of, I believe the former speaker saying that he's going to launch an investigation on the Attorney General and send them to me, that would be good. But I have all the evidence that I need to start writing subpoenas.
Okay, hold up. What if he is getting involved in government cause? Okay. Hold up. Where was it? Okay, here. A house will open. Have a point there. Okay. There.
The fact that it's been condoned worries me of how far this corruption
Also, if you want, I'm willing to show my PMs with Tom Mulrooney and then Speaker Tom Bush, and now Vice
Damn,
President.
Charlie.
And then
Who's
Vice
the other
President.
person in your DM?
For this committee that you would you like to volunteer?
What? Wait, say it again.
Would you like to volunteer to testify either right now or at another date or time to show your PMs between you and former Speaker Tom Bush?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can do it right now, but sure, later.
Okay. Please repeat after me. Well, not repeat. Just say I do after I'm done. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, however it goes, whatever? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And now if you may go. Okay, you're already in it. And just show anything that you think will help our investigation, or that will show that Tom Bush is in the guilty category for right now.
I believe it's Okay,
I just saw the N-word.
Wait, what is that?
You know what?
Wait, what happened?
I just saw the N-word from Tom.
Tom Bush.
Yes.
There's no surprise there.
Yeah. So you have more evidence, so it's not a new thing.
There it is. Gay.
Wait, go. Wait. Wait, go to that. Wait, hold on. I'm talking to you.
Hold up. Okay.
Dan, Charlie, you animal.
Yeah.
Wait, who's sharing the screen?
Me. Okay.
Texting Charlie.
More information can literally be found with Jacob Carey. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, are you screen recording that as well as sharing your screen, or just sharing your screen?
What do you mean?
Like, are you screen recording it?
No, I'm not screen recording it.
Okay. If you can't find the time, again, I'll give the same deadline that I gave the Attorney General tomorrow by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to show any and all text messages that will boost our investigation to find out whether or not the former Vice President, the former Speaker, and the Justice Benjamin Bryant is guilty of any crimes that they've committed in the past.
Okay.
Lord Jesus. We don't need to see that.
Okay, let's continue.
Shit,
I know it. Oh my god.
Okay. Here we can have, as we can see, we're gonna have a talk.
Okay.
About. Stop. Literally stop. Except for Joey, you're okay. Okay. Jacob says clearly, we're gonna have a talk, and then I say about, and then he says, "Are you aware that the punishment of leaking something from an OSA chat?" And then as you can see here, seriously, okay. Hold up. As you can see, where is it? Here, it was marked OSA. And the OSA Act, the Official Secrets Act, clearly said to add it to any chat that needs to be protected for national security reasons, which the What you're not gonna do is have discussions through my pop-up DMs. Don't even.
Stop, guys.
Okay, so the chat was OSA, but to expose corruption, and considering that the law clearly says it has to be of a chat of national security, which that was not. As we can see, they named everything is named OSA now. I don't know where it is, but it was here. It is this chat, which is a friend group chat, OSA. So let's go back. He said. So he says, still another say. It's like,
so will you tell me if you looked the photo or not? If I just want to know.
And it's like, okay, so it's further request your resignation as majority leader, not as house member. But if you're going to be leaking chats and hurting the party, I don't think it's a good fit. But I'm not going to force anything. And I said, I resign as majority leader. And then he says, send it to Speaker Bush.
What the hell is that?
Ignore it. That's not relevant.
Okay, now if you can, screenshot the important bits, send them to me, also with the messages from Tom Bush. Okay, now, because I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then I'm going to let you get 10 minutes of a closing statement. So you have already determined, Mr. Attorney General, if you're listening, hopefully you are, that Justice Bryant, that you strongly believe that he abused his power as President of the United States, that he abused his power, he used his office in a wrong way that makes him like he abused his power as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, that he committed judicial misconduct, and that he committed a federal crime, which was the Democracy Act. And you said that you have had testimony to prove it, or the names of people. Okay, you can stop screen recording. I'm screen sharing now.
Okay, sorry.
God damn. Like, ugh. Doesn't nobody want to see that? Now, where was I? Damn, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, yes. And you have already determined that he, and that he should be impeached because of that. So my question to you is, do you have, as of right now, any grudges towards him? Just be honest if there is something that bugged you, with the truth, because you know you're under oath, that you don't have any grudges towards him. Mr. Attorney General.
I was talking. My bad. I'm sorry. To be honest and transparent as possible, I don't have any grudges against him. What bothers me of him is his acts that he's currently doing. The acts that he fails to uphold for himself. The acts where members of this community were being harassed, were being belittled, and were being trashed. He has done absolutely nothing. And when it comes to serving within the Supreme Court, he violates his oath of office, and there is no sense of accountability there. And the accountability needs to be given.
And you believe? Wait, do you think that Justice Bryant thinks that you are holding a grudge against him because you are doing your job and you are trying to tell him that what he's doing is wrong by issuing this investigation to make sure that the right thing is being done? Do you think? Correct?
According to my interpretations, yes, that is correct.
And do you think that he has any grudges towards you?
Yes, I do think so. According to my interpretation of the way that I get comments from him, I still do believe that the grudge where I told Harry that he wanted
me to overthrow him. I believe that grudge is still there because sometimes recently he called me a snake. So I do still believe that grudge is still there.
Okay, and this is my last question for this. And with every single answer to the questions that were presented and asked towards you, they are true with 100% of your knowledge and your recollection over the time that you've been Attorney General and before the time that you've been Attorney General when you were in the Senate when he abused his power as president, that they are 100% true, correct?
According to my knowledge, according to my recollection, according to the sources that I've been given, according to the actions that I've seen at hand, according to what we understand, yes, I could say with the best of my ability, and of course with my interpretations of the law and of the sources and evidence, we are confident with our decision in the process.
Okay, so with because I'm done asking questions, I'm gonna give a short statement and I'm gonna let you conduct your closing statement if you have a statement for 10 minutes. But here's what I want to say. I want to thank you for agreeing to testify on behalf of not only on your recollection of your knowledge, but on the Department of Justice and their findings. So thank you for that and for bringing this towards our attention. And I also want to thank you for bringing new things to light with our investigation. What we've seen here for the past hour and a half is a testimony that was, in my opinion, true. 100% true. The Attorney General was under oath, and I think everything that he said is true to the best of his knowledge and recollection. If they are true, the Senate Judiciary Committee will be going forward with our investigation. And with everything that was presented towards us, the evidence that was presented towards me as chairman, and the testimony of not only the Attorney General but the Vice President proves only one thing, that the current man, whose name is Benjamin Bryant, who sits on the Supreme Court, he is looking to be guilty. But of course, we have this thing in the United States, innocent until proven guilty. So with that being said, again, I want to thank you, Mr. Attorney General, for that. And I do want to confirm that the Senate Judiciary Committee will be moving forward with its investigation towards everything that was presented in this testimony. So you have 10 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you. To keep it brief and short, I just want democracy to prevail. I want the Supreme Court to return to its normalcy. I want everything to return back. It didn't have to come like this, but the route was made. And to be frank, I'm pretty sure many people in this community are fed up with much of what's been going on. So let's just get through this investigation, get through this all, and from there, if the Senate Judiciary thinks it's okay to proceed further, then I will do anything I can to support, aid the committee in any way, shape, or form. If they think that they should just drop and forget everything and just move on, then I would respect the decision from the committee. But for the meantime, we are advocating for democracy. We are advocating to return to normalcy and to end the abuse, to end the slander, to end the belittling, to end everything, to return to normalcy. And with that, I yield the remainder of my time.
And with that, and with nothing else being said for me or any member of this committee, as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I call this hearing to adjourn. Thank you.
Okay, everyone check the Pat My Puss chat and make sure you pick up your